In today's lesson, we're going to learn and practice some of the most common words in English. And while you're probably saying these words correctly in isolation, I can pretty much guarantee that you're mispronouncing these words in sentences and phrases, and that it's completely destroying the rhythm of your speech. And you now know how important rhythm is. Remember, the human ear is accustomed to a certain rhythm and timing in any language. And when your speech doesn't match that rhythm and timing, you are not easily understood. So let's fix that right now. In our last lesson, we learned that the basic rhythm of English is an alternating pattern of strong and weak syllables. So we don't give equal stress to every syllable. There are places where we linger and places where we rush. Now remember, to linger or stress or emphasize a syllable, you make the vowel louder and longer. To weaken or reduce, you rush through the syllable and you cut the vowel or delete the vowel. I think thinking of it as rushing through is the easiest solution, and it's the easiest solution for most of my students. We also learned that we usually stress or linger on content words. So nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs, those are places where you linger. And we also tend to linger on questioning words, sometimes called interrogatives, the words who, what, where, when, why, and how. Today, we're going to focus on places where we rush or reduce. In English, we usually rush or reduce articles, an, a, and the, pronouns, unless we're emphasizing pronouns for a reason, and a special list of words that you can memorize. We'll talk about that in a moment. So let's start with the articles. Articles are words that are used as a signal that a noun is coming. We have 3 articles in English, a, an, and the. But they're pronounced very differently when they are put in a phrase. There are places where we rush, so we really cut the vowel. Let's try a few examples. Bought a car. Bought a car. Ate an apple. Ate an apple. Notice the connection you can use there, the N at the end of an, going into the vowel at the beginning of apple. Don't forget your connection rules or your constant background noise. Let's try that phrase again and think about all of that. Ate an apple. Very nice. Last is the. Say the. Really rush through the. Stress the other words. So linger on saw, rush through the, linger on show. Saw the show. Saw the show. That's the rhythm of English. Linger and rushing through the articles is a great place to start getting comfortable with this rhythm. Another great place to practice is rushing your pronouns. A pronoun is a word that we use in place of a noun. Once we've established who or what we're talking about, we use pronouns to refer back to that noun. So these are words like he, she, we, me, I, and my. So we're going to practice with that set of words. These are not places where we linger. These are places where we rush. So cut the vowel and really try to get to the next word. Let's practice together. She called me. We're really stressing the word called. We're rushing she and we're rushing me. Linger on the word called. She called me. She called me. Good. In our next example, we have the pronoun he and the article the. So we're going to rush those words and then we'll linger on our content words, our verb drove and our noun car. So this is a really good example. Really feel the contrast between the linger and the rush, or the strong and the weak, or the stressed and unstressed. Doesn't matter what you call it, it's all the same thing. Let's do it. He drove the car. He drove the car. Very nice. Next example. Here we rush the pronoun we and we rush the article a. We say not a. The only time you would say a loud noise or a wonderful time is if you were emphasizing it. Most of the time in English, even though it is the letter A, this word is pronounced a. So here we are rushing through we, rushing through and stressing our content words, our verb heard, our adjective loud, and our noun noise. Let's do it. We heard a loud noise. We heard a loud noise. And if I were a drummer, this is how I would play that. You try it. We heard a loud noise. We heard a loud noise. It's almost like singing. Once you get this music in your ear, you will develop a better instinct about how to use it. That's the great thing about rhythm. Once you start listening, when I slow it down, it's really obvious, right? Once you start listening, you really do start to acquire it in your own speech. So start listening. Where do you linger? Where do you rush? Where do other speakers linger and rush? You will get this. It's a little tricky at first, but I promise you'll get it. Let's do one more example. We've got the pronoun I and the pronoun my. We have the verb miss and we have the noun wife. Let's do it. I miss my wife. I miss my wife. I miss my wife. So that's the way I'd say it in a normal sentence, but there could be a situation where someone needed to say, I miss my wife. I don't miss your wife. Hopefully, that could get a little weird. I miss my wife. And you would stress the word my on purpose. You would make a big deal of it because you want us to know that you miss your wife, or I miss my wife, not someone else's. That would be the only time you would put emphasis or linger on a pronoun, when you're using it for a particular reason. And this is a great example of that. Let's try both versions. Let's try the normal version. Your wife's been away and you're for a week and you're just telling someone, I miss my wife. You could substitute husband. I miss my husband. Whatever situation applies to you. Now let's say someone asked you, do you miss your best friend's wife? Again, I'm not getting into that situation. It's just an example. You'd say, hopefully, no, I miss my wife. I miss my wife. Or I miss my husband. Not my best friend's wife or husband. I miss my wife. I miss my husband. Hopefully that makes sense. If you're emphasizing, you're doing it for a reason. Let's go to our third example of rushing. Another great way to practice the rhythm of English is by learning and memorizing and practicing this group of words. These words, because of where they fall in sentences and phrases, are rushed 99% of the time. So most of the time, you will pronounce these words n, z, because, can, for, t, and your. I know that sounds crazy, but let me show you how it works with the most common word on this list, the word to. So 99% of the time, you're going to pronounce to as t. You're going to say t instead of to. Let's try some examples. In this first sentence, if I say the word to, so much to say, that's equal stress. That's not what we want. We want to find the contrast between strong and weak, or the linger and rush. Now, because of where the word to appears in sentences and phrases, it's usually rushed. So let's turn that to into t in this phrase. So much to say. So much to say. So much to say. Nice. Next example. Want to try. Want to try. Want to try. Reducing the word to ta comes with one exception. When the word to comes after a word that ends with a vowel, pronounce to as duh. This happens because in English, we pronounce T's as very light D's when they are between two vowels. So I don't say butter, I say butter. I don't say it is, I say it is. That is a full lesson for another day. There's so much information about that. That's a full lesson for another week. But all you need to know today is saying the word to, because it is the consonant T followed by the vowel O. If that word comes after a vowel, you're placing your T between vowels. When you're connecting your speech, you're going to have to pronounce that T in the American way, which is turning it into a very light D. So that's the explanation. Just get the rule. When the word to comes after a word that ends with a vowel, say duh. Let's try it. Go to work. Go to work. Go to work. Listen when I say, if I pop the T, you'll hear that it sounds a little bit choppy and a little bit wrong. Go to work versus go to work. Go to work versus go to work. Which sounded more American to you? Your ear probably knew that go to work sounded more American. Even though your mouth might not know how to do an American accent or American pronunciation, your ear knows. You've heard it enough. Keep in mind that reducing or rushing any of these words only happens in connected speech with no specific meaning or intention. So reducing the vowel in these words only happens when you're connecting all the words and you're not stressing or emphasizing the words on purpose for a particular intention or meaning. Another great way to practice reducing to is in these common words. Now, I guarantee you have used these words already today, or I just used it, or will use them at some point later today. So it's worth practicing these words to make them match the rhythm of English. Say to instead of to in all of these words. Today, tomorrow, tonight. One more time. Today, tomorrow, tonight. That's a really simple, great way to improve your rhythm. Today, tomorrow, tonight. Today, tomorrow, tonight. Today, tomorrow, tonight. Do it 10 times a day for a few days and it will become consistent and come out automatically, matching the rhythm of English.